All right, Jello again. This is Ben Hitchcock Cross, and let's just keep it rolling right into a little bit more Missy Zambor. Here we go. All right. Well, you'll agree with me that you refused to talk to my law firm, right? Miss Kohlberg, same objections. ALJ to Fort. But that was in response to complainant's counsel's question about why the witness did not engage with Miss Folleron. So that's a fair question. Go ahead. Can you repeat that question? It might have always been a fair question, but who knows? When I received the subpoena, I contacted attorneys from or Hannah from Von Briesen rather than calling your office. Hi, Mr. Hitchcock Cross. And you made that choice, right? Yes. Okay. And now, isn't it also true that your attitude as a board member of Teresa Folleron changed after you learned she was represented by legal counsel? I wouldn't say my attitude has changed. Well, the way you treat her, is that true? I think I would respond if Miss Folleron reached out to me. I would just be cautious in how I responded. Okay, somebody who doesn't have an attorney or constituent who doesn't have an attorney, you receive their concerns or complaints without filter, true? We get complaints from people. There's probably people who I don't know if they're represented or not. Okay, but you would. So there's some people who you would filter, but you just don't know it yet. Is that true? If yes, if I think someone is represented by legal counsel or suing the district, I would not reach out to them without asking an attorney first. I got it. How about if they made a complaint? Would that affect your behavior as well? No, I talk to people who make complaints to the district. Okay, how about complaints to the state of Wisconsin Equal Rights Division, represented by an attorney? Would that affect your behavior? I wouldn't talk if I knew that. I would still want to reach out to an attorney to make sure an attorney was present for conversations. Okay. But you also wouldn't, no matter what they told you about the misconduct, let's say about discrimination going on NPS, you wouldn't take any action because that person is represented. Fair? That's not what I said by an attorney, right? If there was an allegation of something, there's also ways I could take action without identifying an individual's name. It just depends. It depends on the situation. Sure. But for this situation that we're talking about here, and you know that you didn't take any kind of action, right? I did not take any action based on any emails Teresa Folleron emailed to the board. I'm just going to guess by that kind of answer that means she took some other kind of action, but I don't know. Okay. That I recall. So for this situation, it doesn't depend, right? By Mr. Hitchcock Cross. Where did you learn this practice? When I was first on the board, we had a board clerk named Jacqueline Mann, and she did advise board members that if there was an individual who was reaching out to us that had legal counsel, we should check with the attorneys first before meeting with them. Got it? Okay. And was at that time Marva Herndon was the president, right? Yes. And she also gave that advice. Question mark. Answer, I wasn't in Marva Herndon's board orientation. Okay, so this was just for you. Me and possibly Director Jackson might have been in on these conversations, and it might have come up from time to time. Okay. Since then, have you ever received any instruction from an employee on the board on how you're to react? No. Okay. Let me ask you this. While you were on the board, and Keith Posley was also a superintendent for some time. Is that true? Right. Okay. When when the board voted on some kind of action, was it your expectation at the time that Keith Posley would follow the action voted on by the board? Answer: when a majority of the board votes to direct administration, it is our expectation that administration takes action. Question: why? Answer: on the directive, that's district's policy. Question: any other reason? Again, if the board is voting as a majority of the board to direct administration to take an action, we would expect that action. Got it. Kind of, why would you expect that? Because we would expect that, right? Got it. Did you ever discuss as a board member Teresa Falaron at a closed session board meeting? I don't think so. Okay. But if you had and there were documents that showed up, they'd all be returned to the board clerk, right? Probably, but I don't ever think we ever talking about Ms. Falaron in any executive session or receiving any documents in executive session about Ms. Falaron. I understand. So that, but can we be at least clear on the answer to my question? If you had received documents at the closed session, then you would have returned those documents to board governance. True. I'll withdraw the question as the slightly broader question. You, as a board member, when you have discussions in closed session, you return all the documents at the end of those closed sessions to board governance, don't you? Answer: if there's something I can think of an example where there was, a document regarding district safety that is a document that board governance would keep on record and would be returned to board governance after the meeting and they keep that on file. Sure. But it's also the case that any notes that you may have taken during a closed session are returned to the board governance. True? I wouldn't know, not my notes. Sure. Do you give documents to the board clerk after the closed session meeting or not? Okay, if there's something passed around that was collected by board governance, they could collect it, yes. Yeah, is that a yes? Yeah. I can recall times where a document has been collected. Okay. By board governance? Yes. Question, got it. And so you don't think that that's the policy for the board, right? I'm a little confused on that question, Ben, but I don't think we have a procedure regarding that. Got it. Is that the practice? Sure. As Marva Herndon knows, that's the practice too, right? Because you've seen her hand in documents to the board governance at the end of closed session meetings. Yes, I suppose she has. Okay. Did you discuss your testimony here with anybody since yesterday afternoon? Okay. Did you talk with any other witnesses since yesterday afternoon? Answer: the folks in the hallway. Okay. And you knew them to be witnesses when you talked to them? Answer: I assume they're out there in the hallway. Okay. And you knew they're former employees or MPS employees? I know they're MPS employees. Okay. Did you see anybody in the hallway who wasn't an MPS employee? I don't know. There's a woman out there who I don't really know if she's an MPS employee currently or not. I think she is. I don't know. That Debbie? I don't know. Do you know if the board clerk, whoever held that position, ever filtered emails from board members? Answer: it's possible, yes. Question: okay, why do you think it's possible? Because there are times when I requested information from the previous board clerk and I feel like I did not always get 100% of the information that I was requesting. Okay. So is it possible that Teresa Falaron sent you information that you didn't get? It's possible an email was sent to governance email that the board did not get. Whoa. Let's read that again. It's possible an email was sent to the governance email. Okay, got it. Governance email is an email address that the board did not get. Okay. It's possible that there were emails that were kept from you as board member that were directed to you. That could happen, yes. It could happen. Do you? That could happen. Do you have any evidence to support that belief? I don't have. I can't recall a specific example. Okay. Other than I recall asking the previous board clerk for information, she's talking about Jackie Mann, which I felt that I was not always given all of the information that I requested. Okay, I understand. Did you ever ask anybody for a follow-up? If there was any information on Teresa Falaron withheld from you or other members of the board? I don't recall ever doing that, no. Do you recall asking? Well, let me just ask a different way. Why not? I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay. And you knew there were emails being filtered, right? I don't know there were emails being filtered about Miss Folaran being filtered, right? That's not my question. I can't ask what I don't know. My question just simply was this. You knew there were emails being filtered, right? I don't know. I don't know if there were being emails filtered. It's not my question to you. It's a separate. I didn't say anything about specifics. So maybe we can just focus on the word of my question with your answer, please. So my question to you is simply this. You at the time that Teresa Folaran was sending emails were aware that emails to board members were being filtered. True. I don't have evidence that emails were being filtered. I suspected they could have been, or that the information potentially withheld from us. Perfect. I understand the distinction. And thank you for that answer. So, with that distinction in mind, at the time you were receiving emails from Teresa Folaran, you suspected that emails were being withheld from you. True. I think other information may have been withheld. There could have been emails, but I don't have specific example where I knew an email sent to us was sent to us and we didn't receive it. Got it. That I'm not aware of. Generally speaking, what is your understanding? I think we'll pause here for today and keep it going at some other time. So happy October, everybody. It sure is gorgeous. I hope that's the case where you are. Nothing like October. Take care. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll keep you informed.